Hello. I have one question for you. Have you ever worked a minimum wage job? Odds are you probably have. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, reports in 2016 showed that over 700,000 people in America were working and being paid the federal minimum wage of $7.25. With the ages of 16 and 25 making up a majority of this group. And I can personally tell you that my first job, I worked for less than that. I worked for $6.50 an hour, and at the time, it was okay because I was living at home and needed to work a job just to put gas in my car. But as I stand now, living on my own, I personally couldn't imagine working for this little, let alone living off of it. And that's why I believe that the federal minimum wage should be increased. And I've done some research, and not only will the people benefit from this, but so would businesses, and in the long term, the economy. And then I just want to talk briefly about that first group that would benefit from this, which would directly be the people. The minimum wage as it stands has stood at $7.25 for far too long, and it has started to vastly differ from the livable wage in just about all corners of the United States. Developers at MIT have made a calculator that compiles data and it shows you county per county how much you would need to make in order to make a living wage. And in most counties, this wage is far above the minimum. And just for an example, I use my county, Des Moines County here in Iowa, and the living wage of a person living alone in my county was $10.40, a whopping $3.15 above the federal minimum wage. And this is absolutely deplorable. There is several questions to why we haven't increased the minimum wage yet. And this increase in minimum wage that has been being discussed with several state leaders not only affects that 700,000 I talked about previously, but actually much more than that. A report by David Cooper shows that increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour would affect over 22.4 million Americans. With that many people being affected, why haven't we done anything? And not only do the people benefit, but directly the companies would also benefit from this. And this is pretty simple. Thankful employees are good employees. If you pay your employees more, they would be more apt to work harder and vastly improve productivity. In a study done by Aaron Dube, William Lester, and Michael Reich shows that a higher minimum wage or a higher paying job will have a drastically lower turnover rate, which is the amount of people that apply, get hired, and then quit. So if someone was getting paid $12 an hour versus $7.50, they would have a less likely chance to leave after being trained and then work there for a month or even a week. And lastly, the last group to benefit from this increase in minimum wage would be the economy. As it stands, with our minimum wage, people working close to that realm don't have much of a expendable income. And this causes some harsh environments for several businesses. But with an increased minimum wage, that would give people more buying power and would vastly improve businesses everywhere. A reporter for the Washington Post made a post discussing a survey taken by several different companies around the United States, and it showed over 80% of the companies wanted a higher minimum wage, while only 8% opposed. With these companies not opposing is a question: why haven't we done anything? The increase in minimum wage can't be understated. It can benefit the lives of millions of Americans around the world, or millions of Americans in the United States. It would help the businesses here, and it would also stimulate our economy. The minimum wage as it stands has stood too low for too long, and I cannot ask it enough. Why haven't we done anything yet? Thank you.